And it's Ken Kraetzer for CaMMVetsMedia. We're in Washington, D.C. today at the West Point Board of Visitors meeting. I had a chance to talk to the Superintendent of West Point, and that is Lieutenant General Steve Gilland. And General, wonderful meeting. You have members of Congress here. You had your presidential appointees here, and many faculty, and also cadets here. What was the highlight for you?
Well, sir, first of all, thanks for coming down and joining us today. We appreciate it. The highlight of the BOV for me is always the interaction of our cadets with the Board of Visitors. I think it allows them to gain insight into where the cadets, their space as we talk about developing leaders of character and how we're going about it. And of course, our 4 cadets here today were symbolic of how we execute the character development framework throughout the different classes, and really how the Corps of Cadets has taken ownership of it.
And you were able to report that the damage from last July's storm, $200 million damage, is getting fixed, and those couple of road projects are being fixed. But also you've got the cyber engineering building making strong progress, halfway built, and the Mikey Stadium project coming up. So there's some big construction projects at West Point moving forward.
Absolutely. $200+ million in damages from last summer, but we have made some significant progress with resources from the United States Army to help us move forward. Corps of Engineers, it's a complete team effort to make the repairs. We do have a ways to go, specifically with the 2 thoroughfares that we have in West Point with Williams Road and Thayer Road. Additionally, I would just ask that when we talk about the different projects, yes, there's some big ones, but we also have a number of projects that are undergoing renovation when we think about our Lincoln Hall, Cullum Hall, Building 606, which will come under construction, but then also the renovation of a building to put our new dental clinic in.
And General Reeves, your dean, talked about academic transformation first since the 1980s, and one that would be ongoing and meet the needs of the Army going into 2050 and beyond. Well, tell us a little bit about the academic transformation you have at West Point.
Well, I think we really have to demonstrate that we're adaptive in nature. When we look at today's environment around the world, there are so many different things, and as we think about developing leaders of character and the critical thinking skills to be able to go out and operate in that environment, it just becomes ever more important as we continue to develop not only the Army of 2030, but really the Army of 2040 and then beyond, but also to establish conditions for the military academy as we think about what are we going to have to confront from a warfare perspective in the second half of this century.
And let's talk about how you take what you're learning overseas today from the conflicts that are ongoing, Ukraine and Gaza and other areas of the world, and you bring those into the classrooms sometimes the next day for the cadets to look at. Tell us about that. It sounds so important.
Well, yes, sir. And I think that it goes back to being adaptive in nature and lessons learned and gathering what is current on the battlefields today and how do we incorporate them in so that our developing leaders of character have got that information and they can sort through different situations, because it might not a matter of if, but a matter of when they might have to confront similar scenarios as leaders of platoons, companies, troops, batteries out in our Army.
And you talked about character development. Your recently promoted Major General Robinson, your commandant, Dr. Peterson, and 4 cadets talked about how important character development is, how you do it for each year, how it builds trust in Army officers from what you teach them and what they experience at West Point. What's the key to character development in your mind?
The key is that everybody is part of it. It's not cadet-centric. It takes a village to make progress, and we're all part of the village. Everybody is part of character development. And quite honestly, everybody has to look at themselves as developing as a leader of character. All right, it's not just the cadets, as I stated, it's all of us. And I think when all of us are committed to it, that's when we will really see the progress in our product.
I want to ask you, we've talked a little bit about what's happening in athletics. Your athletic director, Mike Buddy, mentioned that the football team's going to move into the American Conference, but so many challenges in athletics, and he talked about the NCAA needing to get some assistance from Congress. What's your thought on where college athletics is going?
I think it's a changing landscape virtually every day, given what the NCAA puts out, what is happening across really higher education when we think about team sports, and remembering that we think about the scholar athlete and why people go to college and play athletics at the same time. I really think it's about purpose, and we've got to just remember, what are we grounded in, and what does it mean as we look to the future in the NCAA.
Just a final thought for the spring. You've got lacrosse team is playing very well. You're going to have Sandhurst, and then graduation. What are you looking forward to this spring at West Point?
I'm looking to the week after graduation, which will be where it'll be quiet, because people will leave. The schedule will not be as busy, and everyone can take a deep breath, reflect a little bit, and get a little bit of rest.
Lieutenant General Steve Gilland, great to visit with you here at the West Point Board of Visitors meeting in Washington, D.C. Thank you, sir.
Always a pleasure, sir.
Good to see you. This is Ken Kraetzer for CaMMVetsMedia in Washington.